Alright, so here we are again at the climate controlled terrarium control panel. We've got our buttons up over here this time. The wires are out of the way of the LCD screen, which is nice, and there are units now. See the little percent sign. So again, we hold down the button and it changes things. Over here we have our really messy sensor breadboard. This is going to look a lot cleaner tomorrow, I promise. And it's also going to have usefully placed sensors instead of basically measuring the same stuff. Let's say that's what we want. Then we go over to the humidity variation. Sure, let's say 10%. Period in hours. I think this is working right now. We'll see. I'm going to actually test it off camera in a little bit. And okay, so we check our values. I changed it so that when you go back it doesn't reset. So say we actually want 65 way back here at the beginning, we can go all the way back and we don't have to go through and reset everything else. Temperature, now I don't have to tell you it's in Fahrenheit, you can see because there's a big F right there after the temperature. And so we'll hold this for a little while. And say 80 degrees. Cool side. We'll go for 60. Ambient will be 70. The only thing I'm kind of like is I kind of want to put in a little non-blocking statement that changes the delay between button reads depending on how long you hold down the button, because it does take a little bit at 1/4 second per tick to get all the way up to, yeah. Alright, so there's the ambient temperature, there's our confirmation screen, and now we move into the real deal. So okay, so there are 3 screens that flash. First is the sensor value, second is the temperature settings, third is the humidity settings, and you'll notice the 0 right there. That indicates that as of right now, the pump is running because the relative humidity at 46% is far lower than the average humidity that we want of 65%. So we don't have the feedback systems yet. It turns out there's a lot of power interfacing that you have to do going from this little itty bitty thing to 120 volt wall power. But once we do have those feedbacks, you'll see these zeros change depending on what's turned on and off in the system. So so right now it's got the pump on because humidity needs to be up, and the fan is off because humidity needs to stay there, but the pump's also being used, quote unquote, to drag down the high temperature, well, all the temperatures really, to 80 degrees and 60 degrees and 70 degrees respectively. So I'm sure we'll have a bit more troubleshooting to do once we get it all up and running with the climate control systems, but as of right now I'd say 95% of the programming is completely finished. So there you have it. There's an update on the climate controlled terrarium by Shawn and Sean at SJSU.